Good morning everybody, very warm welcome back to MECTEC. We are in the little C1 today and we are back off on a journey down to my old mate Dan's house. We are going to be working on our friend Justin's trotter van again. You would have seen it on the channel before when we did a clutch on it, and it's in need of some more TLC. We've got a various list of jobs to do, fuel leaks and alternators and all sorts of things like that, so I'm not going to waffle on. I'll get down there, we'll get set up. I've actually bought a whiteboard with me in the back of the car so we can write out a list of jobs and cross them off as we go, and that will hopefully give you a bit more insight to what we're doing, and it'll also obviously keep us sort of on the track to what we've got to get done in a day, because we've only got a day to do it. So let's not waffle on. As I said, I'm waffling on, sorry. I'll get down there and I'll come back to you as soon as we start work. Right, we're at Dan's. As you can see, we've got the old van here. This is Justin's van, which is particularly ratified, if you like, and I've brought my daughter's whiteboard with us so we can do a list. So Dan's behind the camera, he's going to help me out because I'm probably going to forget things. So let me just start off. We've got oil and filter, oil filter. We have got gearbox and axle oil change. We've got a carb rebuild. We've got a new alternator to convert from a dynamo. Convert, put on there. Excuse my handwriting. Right, what else we got, Dan?
Fuel hose.
Oh yeah, fuel.
It's got a fuel leak.
Got to fix a fuel leak. Yeah, fuel leak.
Fuel pump while we're in there.
Fuel pump while we're there. Yeah. Okie doke.
Rebuild the carb.
Yeah,
oh, we've done that already. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
We've got the we've got a trotter loud megaphone speaker that does all the different phrases to fit. So we've got what would you call that? We've got one of these. This comes from Neil Huckle. He's one of the Reliant guys, and he gets these made with all the things in them, and it's got hold that remote man then. See the remote? So you can press the button and it says all the different phrases from Del Boy and I think maybe Rodney as well. I don't know. So we've got that to fit. So I'll put megaphone fit. There we go. Megaphone fit. Wiper switch. Anything else in that box, Dan?
No, that's all the stuff in the box, I think.
That's all the stuff in the box, is it? Oh, we've got to swap the front wheel over.
Oh yeah.
Because Justin's had a new tyre put on the front wheel and it's in the back, so it's down here actually, so we've got to put that on. So swap the front wheel over. At least now we've got something that we can cross off, and it makes us obviously hopefully get through things.
Justin also mentioned a misfire, didn't he?
He mentioned a misfire, did he?
Yeah, but hopefully the carb rebuild and the fuel leak will cure that.
Yes, hopefully, yeah.
It's something to check when we get it running, isn't it?
When I was overtaking a Rolls Royce on the M25, it seemed to run alright, so. So that's our list of things to do for today. We've got to get all this done today, and we've got to bleed from camera Dan's brakes. This is very important. That has got to be done.
If you say so.
Right.
We need to get this one done first.
Yeah, get this one done first, then we've got to bleed Dan's brakes. So without further ado, let's crack on, get some of this work done. There's Dan's one up in the air. Right, first thing we're going to do is this wiper switch. Get this nice and easy job out of the way. So we just need to get a flat bladed screwdriver, turn this little collar around to undo it, and obviously then that will allow the switch to pull through from the other side. Change the wiring over, which is just obviously display connectors. Got a nice new switch here. It's just got 4 terminals on the back of it. I don't know if all those are used or not, but obviously we'll find out in a minute when we swap it over. And that should be that job off the list at least, so that's really good. I'll come back to you once I've got that collar undone and obviously go from there. Right, I'll just show you this. We've got the old switch out. The new switch, unfortunately, is all sort of a bit limp. Which is not good, because obviously if you're going up the road and you've got your wipers on and that flicks off all the time, then it's not going to be any good. So we've had to actually borrow the one out of Dan's van, which is a brand new one as well. And as you can see by this one, it's got a nice positive click to it. So we'll get this one fitted. This is just basically going to be a reverse what I've just done. Put this switch through from the back of the dash, do up the little collar with the washer on it, plug it in, and away we go. So we'll get that fitted, and then we'll move on to probably getting the van up in the air in the next job. Wipers are a bit slow. You can see the washer working there as well. The washer's not got enough guts to get the water onto the screen to make the wipers wet, is it? But they do work anyway. It's because the battery is very low on this van at the moment. We've got a little charger hooked up to it, so that all works now. So that's lovely jubbly. Let's carry on. Right, with the van up in the air, as you just would have seen, we've got the side panels off inside here now, and we've also fitted Dan's battery temporarily because the battery on this was completely clapped. The next thing we was looking at was for a fuel leak, which we've actually found, luckily enough, fairly easily, and it's this pipe. As you can see, it's loose on the fuel pump, and now we have actually got a new fuel pump to go in here as well, because these are prone to leaking into the oil, as you would have known from the Eddie Stobart van video that I did. So we're going to change the fuel pump. We probably may have to change, or at least cut the end off of this pipe here so that that seals up nicely, and maybe put a better clamp on it. I'm not sure yet on that.
We've got a brand new pipe we can fit.
We've got a brand new pipe we can fit, have we? Okay. Okay, we've got a brand new pipe we'll fit on there then for that, because obviously we don't want to risk any sort of fire on this at all. Now, the other thing that we had an issue with, we just started out to see where we could see where the fuel leak was coming from, and it was running really, really terrible, and it was only running on 3 cylinders. And it turns out this one here, number 3 cylinder, the plug, it had exactly the same symptoms as the Stobart van, where if you pulled the lead off and held it just above the spark plug, it would run perfectly. So we took the plug out, cleaned it up on the electrode end with a wire brush, and then we took the end that the HTD clicks onto, took that right off, cleaned it, put it on, back on, and then put it in a vise and just give it a little nip so it was mega tight, and now it runs absolutely perfect again. So that is absolutely superb. So I'm going to get this fuel pump off. It's just 2 bolts on the side of the block there. We'll get that off, get the pipes off, change it over to the new one. Whilst I'm doing that, Danny's going to get the carb off. You can see him probably fiddling around in there just about, and he's going to get the carb off, and we're going to do a carb, or he's going to do a carb rebuild on it as well, just to make sure that we don't get any leaks from the carb. Not that it's leaking at the moment, but it's better to be safe than sorry, and we don't want to obviously have any problems with it down the line. So we'll get that all done, and then we'll cut in and out as we progress. Now we have actually got a couple of things we can tick off the list. We ended up not changing the front wheel over because the wheel that's been put back on it, which was in the back, was actually the original front one that's had a new tyre on it, and it had a spare on the front before, so we've left that as it was. So we've got the wiper switch we can tick off, swap the front wheel we can tick off, and we're doing the fuel leak and the fuel pump right now, so we'll get that done and then we can tick those off and we'll carry on. Right, it is a hive of activity. As you can see, I've got the old fuel pump off and I'm just getting some gasket ready. I've got the gasket ready and I've got some sealer ready to go on the new one, so that can go back on again. Dan's got the carb off, all in pieces, and he's doing the full rebuild kit with all the proper stuff here, so that is all going to be renewed as well, so that will prevent any future leaks, which is obviously what we want. So because because it's not our van, we're trying to sort of future proof it. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, trying to future proof it so that it doesn't
So we don't have it back.
so we don't have it back, yeah. And hopefully it'll stay running for a lot longer. And obviously with this ethanol fuel nowadays, with this old stuff, it does tend to attack things, especially if they're left sort of over winter, which this fan obviously doesn't get used all the time. So yeah, we're going to get this done. I'll get the fuel pump back on, Dan's going to do the carb, and then once we've got it all back up and running, we'll cut back in and show you. In fact, I might cut in before that and do the oil change as well, so while we've got the bits apart, we can let the oil drain out a bit at the same time. Let's carry on. Right, that is the new fuel pump in. As you can see, I've connected up the hose which runs down to the tank. We're putting a new one on this side which is going up to the carb. Dan's just finishing off the carb at the moment. He's in there working away. You can probably just see him in the background there. So while he's doing that and finishing that off, I'm going to get the oil and oil filter changed, and then that is another job ticked off the list. So we're doing well today so far. It's all going rather well. I'm not going to jinx it any more than that. So let's carry on. I'll see what this oil looks like when we drain it out. Right, we're under the van, as you can see. Let's get this oil drained out. This is a 3/4 sump plug, so 3/4 size. Hopefully it won't be too tight. No, that's all right. Right, let's just move you over slightly because I've got the drain pan here and I don't want it to go on the floor because we're out on Dan's drive. He's not going to make a mess of his drive. Famous last words. And obviously we've had the engine running a little while, so hopefully it'll be fairly warm. That's pretty disgusting and black, so that's a good job we're changing that. So we'll let that drain out. I'll show you what's left in the pan when it comes out. Actually, don't think there's a lot of oil in this, Dan. It don't look like it, no. Not what it should have in it anyway. So that could be why the when it gets warm the oil light comes on. Why are you saying that? There's a fair bit coming out. Maybe it's just a bit sludgy, I don't know. But we'll let that drain out anyway, and I'll come back to you in a bit. Right, just sort of show you this. Dan's got a homemade, what angle do you reckon that is? 45?
Yeah, 45 I think.
He's cut the end off a spanner and then welded it back on again at a 45 so he can get in there and do the bolts up on the carburetor, which is really cool, which is what he did for his van. So he had this spanner already made up, works really well. So he's just getting that bolted up. So he's had complete new internals, needle seat, needle itself, the pipe on the bottom that always leaks. What else? The gaskets.
Yeah, gaskets, the jet. The
jet, yeah. So it's had everything in there to rebuild that. So that's going back on as we speak. The fuel pump you've already seen, and I've done obviously drained the oil, and I've now got the new oil filter on up there as well, so that's on. So while I'm under here, I'm actually going to drain the gearbox oil. See if I see how much is in there, because I apologise if this is a bit funny, this screen, but I think I might have put a little crack in my protector. Yeah, let me take the protector off this camera because I think it's going to show on the film otherwise. Come back to you in a sec. Right, I've took the protector off the camera lens because I think the phone's dropped on the floor, and it just put a. Well, I'll show you. There it is. There's a little protector. It's put a star in it, and it was showing on the screen. So took that off. Now I've got to be extra careful with the camera. So we've got our drain plug here on the gearbox. We'll see what comes out of this. Hopefully it won't be too manky. If there's anything in it at all, that is, we don't know. We'll find out in a second. We've got new washers going on these plugs as well. Put a new one on the sump on the engine. We'll put a new one on this and a new one on the axle too. So it should hopefully keep it all in. Oh, it don't look too terrible. At least there's some in it. That's always a bonus. He has had a bit of trouble selecting reverse on this fan, so we're going to actually refill this by taking off the gear selector, or gear stick I should say. It's got a little bit of glitter in it, I can just see coming out, so there's a little bit of wear in there. Yeah, not too much, but a little bit. So we'll let that drain out, get the last little bit of that oil out, then we'll take the gear stick off, we'll refill it from the top. And also I want to inspect the actual fork part of the gear stick to see if there's any sort of notches worn in it or anything like that, because obviously that won't aid it selecting gears, if that makes sense. So we'll come back to you when we've got that, or once this is drained out and we've got that off, and obviously go from there. Let's carry on. Right, we have got fresh engine oil in, we have got the carb back on, we've got a new fuel pipe on here, obviously new fuel pump itself, new oil filter, and we've sorted out the spark on that plug. And we have had this running, so I'm not going to lie to you, it has been running, but I'll just show you it running so you can hear it. On the button, look at that. And when you rev it up, sounds absolutely sweet, this little engine, especially now it's got some decent oil back in it again. I'll just show you while it's running. The wipers are obviously a lot faster. Now it's running. Oh, no, wrong one, there we go, that one there. And the washers work absolutely superb. And when you flick the wipers off, they still park. So that is working absolutely spot on how it should be. So we are going to get the gear selector out next, the gear shifter out next, out of here, fill that back up with oil, and then we're going to just make sure that this has not got any burrs or anything on it, so to stop it going into reverse easy. I'm not sure what the next job is after that. We've got to do an alternator on it, so we've got to probably do that next. So we'll carry on. We'll come back to you when we're on the next job. Right, we've got the plate off the inside of the van, as you can see, with the gear stick out. Now the gear stick itself is in absolutely perfect condition, as you can see there. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But what we have actually found, which we think is what's causing the issue, is, I don't know if you can see, but inside there, there's a load of gasket material on the inside of this bit here, and the same on the other side of the hull. So that's obviously what's causing it to bind up and get stuck in gear. So we're going to take this cover plate off with these bolts all around the edge and see what's going on inside, and obviously go from there. Right, after trying to go from underneath, it didn't work, so I've just literally put a screwdriver in here and it popped up, so that was handy. So let's see in real time what's under here. Oh, I see what it is. So the gasket, the hole in that gasket is not big enough, and it's chewing up, it's getting bound up on the selectors by the looks of it. So what I'm going to do is get a blade, cut that hole slightly bigger, and then hopefully that will cure the problem, and then we won't have any more issues with it. So yeah, I'll get that done. I'll get a Stanley blade on that, we'll cut it back so that it's a bit wider and a bit longer where it's obviously been hitting, and hopefully that should cure the problem. Top banana, let's carry on. Right, we think we've found the reason why this is getting stuck in reverse. Obviously that gasket wasn't helping, but there's a pin inside there which I want to try and show you. Probably just about to see it. And the gear stick base is jumping over the top of that pin and then going into no man's land somewhere over this side of the gearbox. And the reason for that is this little dome hat here that holds the gear stick down with this clip-in has got a lot of play up and down in it, so it's not holding this bang on tight to the gearbox. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill two new holes the same size but very slightly further up. So we're going to come around maybe a centimetre or so, drill a hole slightly further up so it holds that bit tighter down to that gearbox, and hopefully that should stop it allowing the gear stick base to jump over that pin, and then it will be alright. Because if you don't lift it up too high, it goes in and out of reverse no problem. If you lift it up too high, it just goes into no man's land and then you can't get it out for ages and it's stuck. So yeah, that is what we're going to try. Also I've just noticed, Dan, something else in here.
What's that?
The alley on the inside of this box is worn on this lid. You can see that there. That could be another reason why it's allowing it to go too far.
Not much we can do about that though.
But there isn't a lot we can do about that apart from change the lid over, which we haven't got another one of at the moment, so that may be something we have to sort out in future. We'll try obviously what we've just said first with the two holes. It's not going to take a lot to drill two new holes in this little dome hat, and then obviously if that doesn't work then we'll have to look out for a new one of these lids for Justin. They only bolt on, so they're really easy to change. Now in the meantime, to show you around here, Dan has got the dynamo out, and as you can see the new alternator is already going back in, so he's doing an absolutely sterling job of that. He's just getting the belt back on, get that bolted back up. We're going to do some new spake connections on the top, on the bottom of this, on the bottom of this wiring. You can see the wiring hanging down this bit here, so we're going to do some new spake terminals on that. Once that's done, then we can go to the other end of the wiring, or Dan can rather, and do away with the voltage regulator, because obviously the alternator has one built into it already, and we've got a connector block on its route, en route from Amazon. It's going to be here hopefully within the next few hours, and we can use that to connect all the wiring up at the other end, and then that is that job done. And after that, I think we are on to the two final jobs, which is going to be the rear axle oil and the loudspeaker that we've got to fit for adjusting the remote control loudspeaker. So we are doing really well. We've done a lot of jobs on it already, and we're on the final few. So as long as nothing fights us, we should be on a home run with any luck. So we're going to carry on, and when we've got a bit more progress, we'll let you know. Right, me and Dan swapped jobs very briefly, because he's quite good at, or very good in fact, at drilling out intricate things like this, and he's drilled 2 more holes very slightly further up in the gear shifter. So while he was doing that, I've bolted the alternator on, which is now trying to get the final adjuster bolt into. So it's on the engine, it just needs to be adjusted obviously with the adjuster bolt. But we've hopefully succeeded in fixing this gear shifting issue with the getting it stuck in reverse. I'll just show you. So we've got first, second, third, fourth, and then you go back into neutral and you lift it up towards you for reverse. And that was getting stuck in there before because it was going too far that way, and then it was jumping over the pin in here and then just going into no man's land in the box. Now it comes straight back out again, because we've obviously got rid of all the slop out of this, and every time you try it now you can't get it to go wrong, which is really, really good. So hopefully that's that job fixed. So I'm going to get this, obviously I've got all this bolted back down again now, that's all done. I cut that gasket out so that wasn't all getting chewed up anymore, as you saw. So I can get the plate back on here now, get the carpet back in, and then that is another job ticked off the list. You found that, is that an M6?
No.
No? We're having a bit of an issue at the moment with the alternator. It's got a threaded hole up here, and we can't actually work out which thread it is because nothing seems to fit in it. So we might actually have to drill it out and put a nut and bolt through it, which will be absolutely fine. So that is going to be the next job. Then we can get the wiring done on this end of the alternator. Then we can go topside, do the other end of the wiring. And then we are onto that trotter siren. So it's going all rather well. Let's carry on. Right, we have got to do a list update. So, oil and filter, done. Gearbox oil, done. Carb rebuild, done. Fuel leak, done. Fuel pump, done. We didn't add on here the gear shift problem. Gear shift problem. Guess what? It's done. But I thought I'll put it on anyway. So all we've got left is the megaphone kit, finish the alternator and the rear axle oil. And then we can bleed Dan's brakes. Oh, we're having a test drive in this first, then we'll bleed Dan's brakes. But either way, we're going to bleed Dan's brakes. Let's carry on. Right, we are on to the rear gearbox. Oh, sorry, no, that's not right. We're on to the rear axle oil, in fact. Got the drain, the fill plug loose up here. And we've got our drain plug just undone a little bit so I could get the camera going and see what goop comes out of this. Let's see. Oh, it's very oily and not at all wet. It's quite dirty obviously, but that's okay. It doesn't look like there's, well, I certainly doesn't look like there's tons in there. It's quite thick stuff this, so it's obviously glooping out because it's not hot. Yeah, we'll get that drained out and then obviously refill it in a minute once it's done. Dan's got the alternator all bolted on now and adjusted up, so it's just the wiring to do on that side of things now. The terminal has turned up from Amazon, which is absolutely superb, so we can get that done. And then we're on to the final job, which is the PA speaker system thing. So we are doing marvellous. Let's carry on. Right, as you can see, we've got the collapsed sun out, as Dan calls it. I think I called it originally, and he calls it that. The rear axle oil is now topped up. The alternator is now wired into the loom, and I'll just show you, hopefully I'll be able to show you. It's starting to rain, so we're having a bit of a mad panic now, but let's see if I can do this without getting bars on the screen. 2 seconds, Dan. You still see all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Just see under there, when Dan's putting his arm, there's a terminal down there, terminal block with all the yellow connections on it. Just zoom in on that. That's the new terminal block that we've done down there, which we're connecting the siren for the trotter sounds to, which is under here. You can just about see that down there on the inner wing, so that's now mounted as well. That's bolted through, so basically you've just got to wire up this siren, or whatever you want to call it, musical trotter thing, and then we should be hopefully starting it up and making sure that the alternator works and everything is absolutely top banana. So we're going to crack on with this, because as you can see it's getting dark, as I say, and obviously we need to get this done quick. So I'll come back to you in a bit. Right, as you can see it's completely dark, and we're going to go for a first test on the trotter. It even looks like a mobile phone. It's got an antenna to pull out and everything. Let's see if it works. Is it on, Dan?
On, yeah.
Hopefully you can hear that.
I think the switch should go off then.
Go on in.
Play something on it.
Hang on.
Put a tune on it, it's on track.
Flick. Yep.
Yeah.
Got the flicker switch and it goes off. That's superb. Switch it back on again then. So that actually works really well. That's brilliant. Oh, well, that works well, doesn't it?
I'll knock it off for now, yeah?
It's got a horn on it as well. Yeah, knock it off for now, yeah. There we go. So that is the Fools and Horses speaker all working with a remote control that looks like a phone. We'll leave that in the car there. And we've got a switch on the dash, which you probably can't see now, which obviously switches the power, main power on and off. Oh, there you go. Put the light on it. You can probably see it now. It's a switch just here. Sorry if you can't see it, but it's there, definitely there. So there we go. So that is that, and I think we've got all, well, Dan's got all the alternator wiring sorted out as well. So it's absolutely superb. So
There's a test, but
we're going to give a clear up, and then it's raining, so, but we're going to give it a road test to make sure that everything's working all right. And obviously we'll take you along for a little road test in a minute. Right, we've got this running again, as you can see. Now it is totally dark out here now. Just wanted to show you this. I'll put the headlights on. Put the headlights on, Dan. Hang on. There you go. Headlights are on over there. You can see the light up. Reading 13 point. You see that on camera? 13.7, 13.6. If I read it up a little bit. There you go. 14.5, 14.7. So that is charging absolutely perfect. If I let off again, it'll drop back down. There you go. Spot on, that, isn't it?
turn the engine off, it should drop down to about even less.
Turn the headlights and the engine off. Should go down to about 12. It gradually drop down, won't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there it goes, dropping a bit. So that's charging.
So
up
that's
nicely.
all charging and everything. So that is the alternator system working absolutely spot on. Well done, Dan. Dan's the man for the electronics, as we know. He's wired all that up and it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, you can see the alternator down there.
Oh yeah, you can just, yeah, let me zoom in on it. Just about to see it down there.
That's shiny new alternator.
Yeah. That's good. Everything else is all back together. We've bolted down this battery tray as well because that was all loose. The bolts, 2 bolts in it that were holding it were loose, so we've bolted that down properly. We've also crimped the terminals back on the battery properly because they were both loose as well. There was a crimp on the coil that was loose. We've done that, or Dan's done that, I should say. So we're going to take it out for a little test drive up the road now and see how we get on.
Oh, have you shown the terminal block down there?
I think I did, yeah. I'll just show it again just in case. See, the terminal block is in there with all the wires connected to it. So that is replacing the voltage regulator, because obviously the voltage regulator is now in the alternator itself. So we'll come back to you when we go out for a little drive. Right, just started it up. Can't see where we're going because it's all steamed up in here everywhere. I've got a phone light in here that's going to hopefully enable you guys to see what's going on. Once you get away from that big bright light, you'll be able to see a bit better. There we go, first drive after all the work today. Pouring down the rain. We have noticed that the dash lights seem to be staying on all the time. Not something that we've done, but we think that's why it drains the battery. Because, why is he stopping there?
Well, it's come up here, I think. Reversing all the way back in this.
Go left.
Ah, but it's crap road down there. A hint.
This is proper hairy coming out of this bit of road because it's like quite a funny. Coming up here, is he actually reversing into there? Do you need the heater on? Does the heater work in here? I don't even know.
They might need to try it because I can't see a thing. That light's not helping either, really, is it? Get any air out? No.
Sorry, it's doing something, can it? Maybe open the window a little bit. There we go. I'm sorry if you can't see a lot, guys, but I'm trying to keep the light out of Dan's eyes while he's driving. This is the worst test drive worst test drive in history. It's pouring the rain, dark, we're steaming up, and it's generally not great, but there we go. So at least it's running again, it's driving lovely. Well, I say lovely, driving as well as a three-wheel van can. So we're going to have a little drive up the road and we'll come back to you when we get back, and hopefully all will be well. There we go. Tell I haven't driven one of these for a little while. God, what was that? Is that a stone? Is that a stone?
Must have been, yeah.
Made a bang, didn't it? We've got the little quarter light glasses open, so it keeps the windscreen clear now. Who needs a heater? The dash lights keep going on and off. We don't know why. It's gone off again now, look. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll check that when we get back.
Yeah. These are so much fun. They're not fun. Oh, blimey. That front suspension was looking at, doesn't it? They're not fun, but they're not fast, but they're so much fun. When Dan was just driving a minute ago, I had the sat nav on the phone, and the speedo was reading 60, but it was actually doing 45. We're reading 70 now, apparently.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing 70 somehow.
No, probably about 50, I would have thought.
I think you are going faster than I was, though.
Slightly.
Yeah, I think you're more brave.
Or stupid, one of the two. Oh, they're great fun though, I love them. Just like puts a smile on your face. Everyone thinks you're an idiot driving it, but
I think it's superb.
yeah, so do I. Great fun. Don't really want to get my one on the road. And your one for that matter.
Yeah, they're not far off, are they?
Yeah, well, your one's closer.
Yeah, yours isn't too far behind, does it? Get the shell back on.
Yeah, get the paintwork done, that's going to be the big job. The rest of it's easy from now on. These wipers are actually alright, aren't they?
Yeah, they work well, don't they?
Yeah. I don't know where I'm going, by the way.
Yeah, just keep going straight.
Oh, right, okay. Go a bit faster.
Yeah, alright.
Well, that according to the speedo was nearly 80, but it definitely wasn't 80.
No, it's fast enough. I'm not normally a nervous passenger, but it does feel like we're doing about 100 in it. In the wet.
Well, we are basically just driving a fiberglass bathtub upside down. With an engine in between our kneecaps. Got to be done, isn't it? So there we go. It's all good. We'll report back when we get home, hopefully in one piece. Right then, successful test drive complete. The only problem we did have was the dash lights were staying on all the time, even when everything was off, including the ignition, which is why I think that he was getting a battery drain on it and he kept having to disconnect the battery all the time. So Dan had a look at that. He's standing behind the camera, by the way, and he's done a superb job by diagnosing that the switch had been wired up the wrong way on the back of the switch. So we corrected that, and then he found that the fuse panel had also been wired up the wrong way on the fuse box. So he's corrected that, and then found out, once that was all ran the right way and everything else, that the side lights had been rewired but hadn't been connected to the original loom. I'm looking at him.
I'm trying to think myself now.
Yeah, and basically when you switched the lights off, the side lights came on, and when you switched the lights on, the side lights went off. So anyway, he's had a fiddle around with it and he's looked at all the wiring diagrams and everything else, and he's got it absolutely spot on perfect now, so it's working really, really well. Now, we've got our list here. As you would have seen earlier in the video, we have now done the alternator conversion. The megaphone is now in and working. The only thing we haven't done is Dan's brakes, which I'm not very happy about, if I'm honest, because I really wanted to get them done for him this weekend. But there we go. As you see,
I did say we might run out of time for that, so
you did say that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
not the end of the world.
No, I mean we were on good track to get it all done, and then the little fiddly things fight you the most, as you can expect, and then it got dark and then it started raining and it just went from there really. So just one of those things, unfortunately. But I'm going to call this the haunted trotter van. He's now back running and driving and all the rest of it and working as it should be again. The reason I'm calling it haunted is because it's got so many blooming problems all the time. There's always something on it that we find extra and above what the initial fault would be. Anyway, so there we go. It's all sorted. Dan's going to do a couple of little wiring jobs on it during the week before it goes back to Justin, just to sort of tidy up a few things and make sure things are safe and nothing's going to arc out or short out or anything else like that, because otherwise, you know what these like, fiberglass, they'll go up in about 2 seconds flat. So there you go. It's
mainly just replacing a few crimps.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, a few crimps and a bit of electrical tape just to sort of protect things.
Yeah.
Once it's obviously all back together, and so nothing rubs together and shorts out and all that sort of thing. So there we go. Right, that is going to be the end of the video. Remember, there are 4 things you can do: like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell, so it'll tell you every time I upload a video. If you do those 4 things for me, that would really help me out on the channel. Obviously, it all goes to the channel growing and getting people to know what we do and all that sort of thing. Remember, I've got Instagram, mech_tech1985, and I have got Facebook, mech-tech, for little sneak peeks during the week of what I'm up to. And all that's left for me to say is, thanks to Dan for being a great host, and thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you again for more automotive adventures next time. Cheers, guys.